tour guides are Dylan insiders Dick Cohn and Marc Percansky.
This is where Bob lived when he first got to the university, fall of '59. Bob wanted to live off campus, not in a dormitory, but his parents wanted him to live on campus in a dormitory. So they kind of had a negotiation, as the way I understood it, and they said they would allow him to live at the fraternity house. I used to come to school 9 o'clock in the morning to go to class, and he'd just be coming home to go to bed. I don't even know if he went to class, and I never saw him go to class. When he left the fraternity house after not enjoying having the confinements that the fraternity required of him, he decided to move out, and this is where he came. I remember people sleeping on the floor and people listening to records up there. This was the middle of the universe for all the Minnesota folkies back in the early '60s. I know this is where Spider John Kerner and Tony Glover, Dave Ray, this is where they would hang out with Bob. A lot of people on campus will tell you, oh, I used to see Bob Dylan back at the 10 o'clock Scholar. And here was sort of still his early development as a folk singer. And it was really enjoyable to just come here and have a cup of coffee and listen to him sing. It was right here in this building where Bob used to perform. And I used to love coming and seeing him here. One of my favorite things was sometimes I'd be the only person in the audience, and so I'd really get a real private show.
Bob Dylan recorded the whole album, Blood on the Tracks, in New York. He was unhappy with half of it, and 6 local Minneapolis musicians were assembled to re-record 5 songs on the album in December of 1974 over a 2-day period. The album was released in January 1975 in a hurry, therefore the musicians were uncredited on the album itself. Many believe it to be Bob's best album. In 1986, the first official rock concert took place at the Dome. 3 bands, the Grateful Dead, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, backing up Bob Dylan. Here's a t-shirt from the event. People later nicknamed it the Rubber Dome because of the way the sound would bounce off the ceiling, and they complained they wanted their money back. In the 70s and 80s, Bob and his brother David owned this place. He came back in 1992 for 5 great shows. There was local bands that opened the show. One night it was the Jayhawks. One night it was Kerner, Ray, and Glover, and Bob's buddy from back in the day, the great Larry Keegan, opened with the Mere Mortals.
One time when Dylan was doing a concert at the Orpheum in downtown Minneapolis, I took my mom to see the concert. Beattie was also there. It was all over. We were standing in the lobby. My mom and Beattie were talking, and I was just standing there, and some girl walked up to Beattie and said, "What's it like being the mother of the Messiah?" And she just rolled her eyes and looked at her and turned away. And so I said to my mom a little later, I said, "What'd you think about that?" My mom says, "I don't get it. I can't understand one word he says."